Hi, I'm Brad Roberts, Marketing Manager for Cybersecurity products at SaskTel. I'm here today to talk about some of the commonly asked questions we get from our small and medium business customers regarding cybersecurity. People often ask me, am I really at risk? Well, actually, you might be more at risk than you think. In a survey last year, 73% of Canadian businesses indicated that there was an attempted attack on that company. Another important thing to take into account is that criminals don't research companies like they used to. What they're doing now is sending out mass emails hoping that somebody clicks on a link. And often when customers say, do they really care about my data? What I tell them is, your data may not be that important to them. What they're really trying to do is stop you from accessing your own data in order to get a payday. Really, the big question I get is, what should I be doing? Well, I guess, first of all, the most important thing is don't be an easy target. There's really three things that you should be doing. First of all, you need to protect your devices, and you do that by putting endpoint protection in place. Second of all, you want to protect your network, and you do that by having a firewall in place. And third, you want to protect your data by backing it up off-site in a data center. Another thing to take into account is education, because often how a cyber attack will occur is when an employee clicks on a link that they shouldn't have, so keeping them trained is really important. So what are the implications of being breached? Well, actually, there are some really serious implications of being breached. First of all, there's financial implications, and that could be the ransom the business may or may not pay, but also there's remediation. And what that is that's when you have to clean up your network after the fact. And what a lot of businesses find is that the remediation is 10, 15, or even 20 times what the ransom was in the first place. From there, you need to look at contractual or legal obligations. When we say contractual, what I mean by that is often when small businesses contract themselves out to larger businesses, they have to sign contracts that have clauses saying you should have cybersecurity solutions in place. It could be lawsuits from customers whose data was stolen. And also there's reputational damage. I was talking to a business in Saskatchewan, actually, and they were looking to sell their business, and I mentioned to them that if they were breached, what might happen is the value of that business may decrease when they're trying to resell it, and that would impact their retirement, which a lot of businesses don't consider. What is the worst case scenario? Well, the worst case scenario is you're going to have to close your business. And in fact, 1 in 5 businesses that are successfully breached close within 6 months. There's actually a business in Saskatchewan. What happened was a receptionist clicked on a link in an email that they thought was an invoice, and it wasn't. It was a virus. What ended up happening was all their computers were locked down, data was stolen, they couldn't see calendars, they couldn't see schedules, they couldn't contact customers. They ended up talking to their lawyer, and the lawyer's advice was to close their business because of the magnitude of the breach. Unfortunately, that is a really common story. A lot of businesses just can't handle a cyber attack and end up closing. This often leads to the question, where do I start if I want my business to be more cyber secure? Well, it can be very complex, but SaskTel has lots of experience protecting our own data as well as protecting data for our customers. What we've done is we've looked at the marketplace, seen what the best solutions are, and we've put them together in easy-to-understand bundles for our small business customers. Just remember, if you ever have questions, SaskTel is going to be there with you every step of the way.